is Hard Facts.
Hard facts.
On 95.1 Nigeria Info.
All right, Abuja, thank you so much for staying tuned into 95.1 Nigeria Info. How's your day going? Pleasant weather, isn't it? I feel like some people will say, Kim, you need to stop with this weather talk. Enough of it already, but Kai. When the weather changes from how hot it was before, the scorching, sun and the heat to what it is right now, you're just bound to sound very British and talk about the weather. But it's all good. It's all good. I know you're having a very fine Thursday. And I am also just talking with my guest to see how best we can bring him on the show. And I did mention Senator Oregwe was meant to join me on the Big Three segment of the show. He's still pretty much on board, still here, and he'll be joining me virtually via telephone for the conversation as we look at some of the big stories driving conversation, the Big Three today. And then I would also be having a conversation about the petrol price in the country, which is one of the stories also that we'll look at from the Big Three. And then we would look at the 10th Assembly, looking at some of the bills and legislations that are coming up. So just to let you know what to expect on the show today, don't forget Eyewitness Report Situation Update to just share your take with us. I see that Dangote has also reduced the price again. I can mention it's quite going to be an interesting one when you have a free market. It's liberalized to the extent that it is at the moment, even though it doesn't look like it 100%. However, the price has come down, maybe tied to the position of the Federal Executive Council that has, called for the Naira for crude deal to stand. FEC renews it, so we have that on board, and I'm sure in the coming days, even for the NNPC that had to spike the price up, they will have to adjust appropriately. I'm trying to get a hold of my guest. It's taking a second, longer than I thought, so just permit me for a second or two to get just a hold of him, and we'll continue the conversation, so please stick around.
Hello, my name is Kimberly. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
Nigeria Info.
Abuja.
Audio
Connection established. This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
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 The list was to counter the narrative about Tinubu's alleged lopsided appointment, which was brought to the public by the senator representing Borno South, Ali Ndume. In an interview, an APC lawmaker accused the president of violating the federal character principles in his appointment, which the presidency denied. Now, to counter the allegation, the special advisor to the president on media and public communication, Sunday Diary, on Wednesday, released a list of Tinubu's appointees and their geopolitical zones. The list showed that the president had appointed 29 people from the southwest, his home region, 35 from the northwest, 22 from the south, and 16 from the southeast, and 25 from north central, 24 from the northeast. However, the president's critics have pointed out that the list was not comprehensive, as the name of a major appointee from the president's home region was still missing. And the omission of the president's Chief of Army Staff Femi Gbajabiamila and the Comptroller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Kemi Nandap, among others, from the list further strengthens the regional imbalance, the narrative against Tinubu's administration, as the list clearly shows that the Southeast is underrepresented in his government. So as the document sparked debate on social media, Dari now took to his X handle on Thursday to apologize for the errors in the list and promised to provide an updated list much later. However, the presidential spokesman did not explain why Gbajabiamila's name was omitted from the list. That they've noticed the number of error in the list of appointment, tweeted they're sorry, and they will provide an updated list much later. That's what they said. Because you already got a lot of people talking like, is it deliberate to leave out some name to give it some semblance of balance or an error? Well, they've come out to own up to the error, to saying it was a mistake. We're going to do better. They're going to bring out the list. But it doesn't matter what name they had at this point in time. I think Nigerians are still going to try to shred to saying the imbalance is still pretty much there. In the last administration, one of the reasons why we got a lot of agitation, particularly from the southeastern part of the country, was that sense of marginalization, to saying we're being left out from your government. We're not carried along. Are you saying that there's no competent individual within your party or that you think you can work with, which some people rode on that wave to cause, that bit of fraction, and we saw that play out all through the former president's administration, President Buhari, that is, where from the IPOB agitation to constant narrative out there being that of marginalization, and you even fueled the quote-unquote terrorist act that sprang up from it eventually. You might not want to call it that, but the minute people start getting killed, businesses are vandalized and people are harassed, you're terrorizing people. And then the minute you pick up arms also and burn government facilities and infrastructure, you're terrorizing the nation. Now, the thing with this is, some people's freedom fighters can come up as terrorists to the state. And we've always seen it in different regions where you feel like they are representing our cause, but the state will see it as being a threat to either the sovereignty of the state or the sovereignty of power at that point in time. So that's where the label on IPOB was, they were profiled as a terrorist organization, even though it was a very contentious one at that point in time. Marginalization of any sort can lead the people to just feel like, all right, we're going to take things into our hands. Either we stamp and assert ourselves so that we get recognized, or we decide to disengage from that. And it's not just peculiar to Nigeria. You've seen this play out in different parts of the world where people just feel like, oh, we're not carried along. We're not involved in the governance or the process, and we're not given the platform to speak about our interest and all of that. You get to say it. So I think this has also come up for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, where appointments that have been made, brows have been raised to saying, why are you appointing so many people coming from, the southwestern region of the country? Enough that, when the last appointment was made and the new GMD of NNPC came on board, because of the name, people were quick to say, okay, are you bringing under Yoruba? Then the final was from Kwara State. Like, okay, it's not central. He's not from the southwest. Like, all right, but ethnically, isn't he this? So Nigerians were breaking it down even to that point in time. I thought at this point we should be growing and unifying as one, formidable force, as a nation. But right now it just feels like we're a country of too many nations looking out for themselves. So I can understand why the government will want to put out like a spreadsheet of the appointment they've made so that you can judge for yourself. But this one fell flat on its face, apparently, and the disproportionality of it is quite evident at this point in time. But they say give us some days, would impute some of this name, would do better. We'll get to see how much change that reflects. But for those of you who've seen it, I'm sure you've quite mapped your opinion. Do you think it's a government can come on board and you get that even representation from every geopolitical zone in this country? Don't forget that we're dealing with a country with so many nations that even within a state, you find the minority who feel they also deserve some sort of representation. And when it comes to the national scene, it's always about, okay, who's coming from the southwest and what region specifically, who's coming from the southeast. I mean, I stayed in this country enough to hear people argue and say if you're from Delta Igbo, you're not southeast enough. We had that conversation here, and for me, it was really mind-boggling. It tells you how deep these issues are, and any government coming in needs to be sensitive to the peculiarity of the country that you are managing at that point in time. But can you honestly get someone, we had it in the past where you say, and that's, well, I don't know if you want to take us well back to the First Republic before the coups started interrupting, but we're in the Fourth Republic at the moment. Would we have said that there's a government that came on board and gave that semblance of that unity, that purpose, where everyone felt adequately represented? Is it doable, really, if you're looking at the politics of things? Because you want to get the people and the regions that you feel like, okay, I got the majority of my vote. I've got my loyal list coming from here. I've got, good people on ground to look out for my interest, and perhaps not want to look at the place where you perceived as being hostile to your coming in. But then if you look at that also, it can be problematic if you want to peek and say, okay, how many votes did I get from here? We heard it from Buhari, where I think one of the trips abroad, not in Chatham House, where he was talking about 97, even though the math was off, but he was talking about 97 and 5%. And Nigerians took him to the grind and like, how dare you segregate us that bad? But he was trying to point out that this is where I got the majority of my votes. I'm going to pay attention to it, but it doesn't work when you want to go beyond politics to governance. Let's go on a quick break.
And sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
Thank you so much for staying with us. So we started off with the appointment list that was put out and the errors in it. And what it meant to achieve was to just give you a picture of how the appointment has been in terms of the different regions and the representation, to make your own judgment, to saying, is it fair? Is every region properly represented? And the percentage disparity, is it one enough for Nigerians to raise their brow? Or is it politicians stoking this up for us to see a problem when there is none? Well, it's open to your interpretation. And remember, it's the big tree. You're welcome, seeing that my guest is in here to help us interpret it further. We're live on Facebook and YouTube at Nigeria Info Abuja on Facebook, at Nigeria Info Abuja on YouTube. And you can tweet at us at Nigeria Info ABJ. Our phone numbers are 0700 951 0000. 0809 5974 869, or just call via WhatsApp or send a message via WhatsApp on 0809 9930 137. Hello.
The Oracle.
Yes, you're welcome.
This is power.
I greet you.
Oracle, there is problem. Good evening. Good afternoon.
Why are you starting my show with problem, my brother?
God bless you.
God bless you too.
Oracle, there is problem here also. We need you to come and help. There is heavy traffic.
What area is that?
Between airport junction, between Dandata Bridge going to Jabi Lifetime, that exit is totally blocked. I have spent up to an hour here. I can't go back. I'm just crawling.
Oh dear, that's crazy. But I hope there are no people building extra traffic. You know, that one way, and then it compounds the situation.
No,
I hope that isn't
the
happening.
road is actually a one-way road.
Okay, so nobody's coming from the opposite side. So with patience, you guys will get there.
From Galadima, from airport,
and
heading to Life Camp.
Oh, I know where you're talking about.
So the exit is blocked.
Oh
So
dear.
if anybody is coming this way, without use to Guarimpa and coming, I don't know where it's up for now. I'm just like by Beggar John. They say,
All right.
the junction. That's where I am now for an hour. Just from the hospital to here, I've taken like 1 hour, and I'm still crawling. So please, Oracle,
Yes, sir.
please check what happened here. Let's know so that if we have to remain here and park and sleep, well, it's expensive. Thank you.
Thank you very
That's
much.
my high witness. Sorry to digress from your...
I was saying that you need to pay a fine for just digressing, but I allowed that, saying that, all right, no problem. But he's giving you heads up. If you're heading in that direction, understand that there's a gridlock, and you might want to make other plans or take alternative routes at this point. Hello? Yes, we've got you. Hello?
Hello?
Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name? Am I having network problem also? I don't need that today. I can hear you. What is your name?
Okay, it's Holland.
Okay, Holland,
So
go ahead. All right, Holland, I have to let you go. I'm sorry about that. Your connection is really poor. Hello? Hello? Okay. So if you are trying to connect via telephone, doesn't work, try WhatsApp. If you try WhatsApp, it doesn't work, try the other line. Hello?
Good afternoon, Your Excellency Kimberly.
Good afternoon, you're welcome.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. All right. I'm beginning to suspect it might be from our end. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir, you're welcome.
Hello?
All right. I need to go on another break. Obviously from our end then. 5 hellos cannot be their problem. It definitely is our problem at this point in time. Let's sort it out.
Let's talk on 95.1
Nigeria Info.
Abuja.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
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 is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Hello.
Kim,
Yeah.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me now?
As I said, no one should be calling you oracle when the sun is bright, it's shining. It's more dangerous. When oracle move at this
Can
time.
you hear me? Simple question, Nigerian man. Can you hear me?
Very well.
Ah, that's good to know. All right. Thank you very much. Because I have tons of engineers around and I needed them to be sure.
Yes, I can hear you clear.
Oh, that's good to know.
You know, I'm an apprentice oracle, so even if there's anything wrong, it will obey me by force.
Thank you very much, apprentice.
Oracle, you see, our politicians really brings in this unity in this country. But they were doing it based on their interests. For instance, I think I don't know how to put it so that it would not look as if I'm trying to create some issues. But you see, we are all one. Today, you now hear Delta Igbo. You now see area Rivers man saying, I'm not an Igbo. People creating, fractions here and there.
But it works to the advantage.
Because the politicians wanted a means whereby they wanted how to be extracting the oil from the Niger Delta or oil, the oil producing state. They wanted to be extracting oil in order to silence the southeasterners, And for me, it's very bad because we are all one. We are one. We are one.
All right.
We are one.
All right, Justice of Peace. Thank you very much.
Cool.
Your message is clear. JOP. Hello.
Hello, Kimberly.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What is the new pump price from Dangote?
Well, that for you is priority. 893. Yeah.
We're expecting to be at $250.
Dollars or naira?
It's our Commonwealth. It's our Commonwealth. Let's take the so-called. Let's take the relief, not this outrageous, exorbitant, little by little system. If they cry more, give them a little. If there's public outcry, reduce a penny. No. 250. That is our target. Thank you.
All right. Thank
you. Oracle, let us know the next one of us.
Well, I'm seeing the updated one is actually 865 naira per liter. That's what's been reduced to. Yeah.
Well, can we call that one a reduction? Can it have any direct impact on goods and on prices of goods and services? Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so Abubakar is saying not good enough at this point in time. Well, let's give you this latest update. The National Electricity Regulatory Commission, they've sanctioned 8 discos for failing to comply with monthly energy caps for unmetered customers between July and September 2024. So if you're an unmetered customer, this affects and concerns you. The affected discos include the Abuja, Eko, Enugu, Ikeja, Jos, Kaduna, Kano, and Yola. And the Commission, in a statement on Thursday, said these discos have been fined over 628 million naira, and they must issue credit adjustment to affected customers by the 15th of May 2025. So If you've been affected by this, the DISCO, Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, should be able to affect that adjustment to you. On meter, though, not those of you that have your prepaid meter already. And the Commission said the sanction is vital to ensure regulatory compliance and consumer protection in the Nigerian electricity supply industry. It's a good thing that this is coming up because over time, it gives that sense as if, is anybody really watching? How do you know for sure? It's one thing when you're using your prepaid meter, you can almost read what you're consuming. If you buy, say, 100,000 naira value of unit, you can almost tell, okay, if I turn off my light, if I turn this, and I know what one unit, if you're on band A, band B, band C, or Z, you already know what one will cost you. And then if you have certain appliances or you are home all day, you can almost, extrapolate what it is for every month if it doesn't change. But for on those people who are unmetered, you just have to work with that level of estimated billing. And there are people who've called over time and mentioned that some months there's some discrepancy in the figure enough for you to say, what did I do different and how did I consume different enough for it to go this high? When nothing, there is no variable that's been injected enough to change your constant, and then things continue to change. So NEC, the regulator, they've looked into it and also raised their concern and sanctioned these 8 discos, which is almost all of them, to saying you're not doing it right by the book. You're flouting the rules of what we spelled out, and you'd have to pay that level of compensation and adjustment at the end of the day. I mean, it would be a good opportunity. This is still developing. It just came out. It's left for us to see how the discos comply to it and the kind of adjustment that comes in. And then proper awareness also as to what to expect in terms of unmetered customers, to say, okay, you stay in this particular area, this is the estimate we're giving you, and you're not surprised by a difference every month at the end of the day. So you could also share a bit of your observations and your concern and how much it varies month to month in the areas where you stay if you're unmetered. Hello?
Hello, Kimberly. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon to you. Welcome to the show.
My name is Stephen. I'm from Tuesday.
Stephen, talk to us.
Yeah. I'm on the issue of Losari appointment according to Senator Mbine. Are you getting me?
I'm listening.
You see, you cannot go beyond politics over governance. Unlike what Buhari did during his own term. Tinubu is going on quality. He's pointing people that will work with him and giving what they want. And Buhari did something, but he was giving appointment to those who don't even know what they're doing. What happened in Buhari regime cannot happen in Tinubu regime. Everybody knows it. Governance is very, very serious. We don't play politics with governance. So people should be calm and stop being controversial every time. Every time that man is controversial, it is not good. At the end of this tenure of Tinubu, let him check the performance of this first tenure and what happened in Buhari regime. Comparison was looked into. What happened in Buhari regime cannot happen in Tinubu regime. Tinubu cannot take it. Because Buhari was playing politics. Why Tinubu is playing governance? He's doing the governance. He's doing the work. It will tell later. They just want immediate payment. It is not so. When you demolish your house under 30 minutes, it will take you some months or even a year to build it up again. That is what Tinubu is doing. But people don't understand. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's hear another caller. Hello? Yes, you're welcome.
Yes, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Briefly, the only thing I actually triggered the call was a little the scholar talking Udume and all that. See, Kim, what you should know, Udume is the senator representing his region. He's speaking in favor of his region. Of course, I know fully well that Nigeria is one of. He's speaking in favor of his region. But I tell you, Buhari was a disaster coming around Nigeria to as a president. For me, Buhari now, he just come mess up everything. Tinubu is not doing any better anyway. He's not doing any better if you ask me. But Buhari was the worst. He was able to speak.
The worst in what sense? Because you need to contextualize it. The worst generally, because we're looking at in terms of appointment and representation for each of the region. Is that the sense in which you were saying he was the worst also?
You and I knew that was the outside team now. They were everywhere now. Name it. They were all in charge. Same thing to Tinubu came and same thing, Yorubanize the government. Why was they Hausanize the government? The only general who came and was liberal and he decided to make things flow.
But don't you think it also send the wrong message if you say it was a Hausa thing? You're looking at one ethnic group. Or if you're saying a northern thing, like in terms of the proportion of people who came from the northern part of the country, then, because the north is a composition of a lot of other ethnic groups. You know that, right?
Kim, I could not hear you anymore, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You said what?
I said if you say it was a Hausa
somebody
thing,
that
we're reducing it to just one ethnic group, one group of people.
Okay.
The allegation was about the region, not just it being Hausa. As a matter of fact, there were talks about Hausa Fulani and all of that. But if you say it was a Hausa thing, are you using Hausa to generalize the northern part of the country in terms of the northeast, if the person is Kanuri or whatever? Because those people do not identify as Hausas.
Kim, I actually choose to generalize it because if you ask me, from this our Abuja go down north, all of them outside they be.
To you?
To me, yes, to me. To me.
Okay.
Because it is when it's said they want to sexualize it by say Hausa Fulani, Hausa Gwandara, Hausa Mada, Hausa Jos, and all of that.
All right.
As it is,
Thank you.
For sharing formula, they are all together.
All right. Thank you very much, Usilama. Hello. Good afternoon. Okay, not connecting, so we move. Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Yes, you're welcome.
Good afternoon.
I greet you. Can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
All right, this is becoming.
Hello?
Let's try another one. Hello? We can. Go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Gerald.
Welcome, Gerald.
Thank you. So, Kim, almost every other new term in our political experiments, there will always be this cry of marginalization. The truth of the matter, Kim, is that nobody is going to get it perfect, and the reason is the nature of the game, politics. It is political party, party. The party, my party versus your party, there is a distinction. Insofar as a new president or governor comes on board and fulfills the constitutional requirement, what is that? Have a spread. The constitution did not say make it equality. Can you hear me?
I'm listening.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Gerald. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello.
Oh, dear. Here we go again.
Can you hear me?
All right, Gerald. I'm afraid I have to drop your call and hope the next one can hear me speak. Hello.
Hello, Kim.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Okay. I called during a barrister's show, and I'm bringing a situation report to your notice. I want to remain anonymous, please.
Is it an emergency? Because we've taken one already. It must be an emergency for you to interject this show for that.
It is.
Okay, what is it?
I want Nigerian people to investigate because it affects a lot of Nigerians.
Is it an emergency, sir?
Yes,
or something happening now that you want to report, or something you can send as a voice message for later?
It is.
All right, go ahead.
It's about the Federal Fire Service. They have been given full employment since November last year.
Sir, it is not an emergency. Send this via voice note. It's not an emergency. There's no fire.
I want to investigate. People are being.
Thank you very much. There's a fire. That's an emergency. Hello?
Hello, good afternoon, Auntie Kim.
Welcome to the show.
The Oracle One of Nigerian people.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Yaya.
Yaya, go ahead.
My name is Yaya, the head boy.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, Auntie Kim, about the lopsided employment that Senator Ndemi just said. Like, it's becoming taking it into our constitution small, because they will say, that's what Buhari did now, 8 years ago. So that's why Tinubu is also doing the same thing. So it's becoming like a normal thing. That's what this person do, like a normal thing. So it doesn't bother anymore. And even they know that they are talking, there are other notes more than other northern now. So nobody will just stand and say that Yeah, he favored the North because there are other Norths who are other more than Northern than others. And so that is, and for the second story about the those who don't have to pay meter, I'm one of the victims of our own estimated billing. They just, by small place that I am, almost 15,000 every month. I would just see, without light or with light, even 15,000, 2 weeks, we never see light. But at the end of the month, they will bring bill of almost 16,000 to my house. And so we wait and see. They didn't tell us how they will find these people, how they will make them pay, how it's going to affect us, how we will able to see the dividend that truly that they have been punished, that now they are speaking on our behalf. We want to see so that they should spell it to us bit by bit, so that the enemy will also come and testify, saying, these people have done us good. Look at what they have said. I promise when I see the good part of them,
all right,
come and testify, because now I'm complaining. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now let's throw in another story, and this time I'm going to ask you a question. The former president, Muhammadu Buhari, did he run and adopt a citizen-centric approach to governance? Would you describe his time in office, the 8 years he was a civilian president, that indeed he adopted a citizen-centric approach to governance that was about the people? Campaigns came off that way, but during his time as president, did you get that feel like it was about people? Some would say yes. Didn't we have all of the social intervention program coming up, thinking about the people, the talakawas, and those who are poor and the vulnerable? You saw a lot of programs. But aside that, it is something else that you could define his administration as such. Why am I bringing up, you ask? Oh, well, because he's in the news, that's why. Former President Muhammadu Buhari said he left office with the same physical assets he had before assuming office in 2015. He also disclosed that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration renovated his private residence in Kaduna after he left office in 2023. So he lives a Spartan life. He's trying to tell you he didn't take your money, left it as modest as he can get and all of that. He said this while he received governors of the APC under the aegis of Progressive Governors Forum, who paid him a visit at his Kaduna residence. A statement by his media aide, Garba Shehu, said on Wednesday, the former president handed over to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the 29th of May, 2023, after 8 years in office, and the first president produced by the APC and was in power, for that length of time. So in September 2025, few months after assuming office, former military ruler and the first opposition candidate to win Nigeria's presidential election disclosed the asset he had through a statement by his presidency. I know that was also a very contentious one back then, because he did say he was going to do that, and the media had to badger him, like literally Nigerian, like, you promise you're going to declare your asset. Do that already. And some semblance of that was done eventually. And he tried to put out that he lived a very Spartan life at the time. The former president said he had 30 million naira, 5 houses, 2 undeveloped plots of land, farms, and orchard, more like, ranch, livestock, including 270 cattle, 25 sheep, 5 horses, a variety of birds, and a number of economic trees also. And in 2019, upon assuming office for a second term, the president said in a statement that his asset had not changed significantly, that there were some changes, but not significantly different from what he was when he came in 2015. And so he brought that up again to saying, see, I didn't acquire any asset while I was in office. So you can judge him harshly for perhaps maybe how he made his appointment, the perhaps not acting swiftly when he came into some of the security challenges we were grappling with, or acted in a way that some people perceived that he wasn't just treating it as decisively as he should have. But he's saying, judge me fairly on this one. At least I did not acquire and enrich myself like a glutton on this particular one. I know sometimes you hear how people acquire wealth, you hear massive estate, and we're like, what level of kleptomania are we dealing with right now? He's saying, I'm not that guy, and gave this advice where he said that state governors should adopt a citizen-centric approach to governance. He said leadership present both challenges and opportunities, stressing that balancing the two will significantly advance the country's progress. And he also advised leaders to accord importance to the welfare of the people rather than themselves. And he cited his personal example of leaving office with the same physical asset he had before he became president and expressed confidence in the progress made by the governors elected on the platform of APC, reiterating his call for continued dedication to the nation's growth. So this is why he sleeps well at night. I mean, he goes home saying to myself, self, I did not acquire and enrich myself. I still have basically what I had when I went into office. I'm the good guy. You know, sometimes you don't know how these people sleep at night based on certain decisions they made. And it's not easy to be president, I promise you. A country like Nigeria, as diverse, we come off like, oh, we're simple, easygoing people, but I promise you we are not that easy people. We're not like you. It's not like a herd where you can just head people in one direction. That's when you start to see all kind of regional champions telling you, don't go there. It's leading you astray. It's lemoning. You fall off the cliff and die. You have to go this way. So it's difficult to actually put us together. But in spite of that difficulty also, if you do have a nationalist vision to sell, it's still kind of, because the common denominator is everybody, in spite of your language, region, or religion. You want the basic things, your roof over your head, employment. You want electricity, you want potable water, don't you? You want at least to have decent education for your children and affordable. You want a paycheck that is a living wage at the end of the day. These are common denominators that, in spite of all of our difference, if someone can sell that and work towards it, I think it'll be easy to coordinate the nation. So yeah, he sleeps well. He's saying, I didn't amass wealth, and advising others to just not be self-absorbed. I would take that as a good advice, because sometimes, the way people clamor for certain things, you just wonder if they take it to the afterlife. But we know that this is not enough to put you in that hall of fame as one of the best leaders, because Nigerians are apparently asking for a whole lot more beyond you saying, I didn't do this too. What then did you do for us at the end of the day? All right, get back to the phone lines, Kim. Yes, 0700 951 0000. But before I take more calls, let me read more of your messages. Errors in the list have been compiled long ago and even forwarded to the relative committee in the National Assembly for approval. I bid them, they treat malaria on top dead body. Kindly dissolve all controversial appointments which do not fall in line with the givens or provision of the federal character, or is in tandem with nepotism and undue favoritism of a particular ethnic group in the country. That could be a wonderful starting point, says Babashina Might from Gida Mangoro. Sule from CBD says, when you look at the government of Obasanjo, Goodluck, Jonathan, Yaradua, the appointment was not as bad as we see today. After all, Tinubu said he's going to continue from where Buhari stopped. So we're not surprised with the appointment of Tinubu's government, because Buhari showed him the way. Nothing takes God by surprise. All right? I see. I want to report, all right, Israel, that has been brought to attention, open defecation. This is not part of our conversation. You see why sometimes you have to, it has to be an emergency. Now, this one is talking about random stuff like open defecation on airport road. If he were to call, he would say it's an emergency. Is it? Well, in one sense, for someone who is seeing all kinds of... Let's not digress. When Buhari was busy appointing people from certain region, did anyone question him? If Tinubu likes, he should appoint people from only the south. Okay. Babalola from Katampi. Well, a lot of people do question him. Then you ask, how many did the question come from even people within the region? That's what you ask. But if it's about question, he lived the whole 8 years of his administration being questioned. So yes, did he ask questions? Hello?
Hello.
Good afternoon.
How are you, ma?
Fine and well. What's your name?
Yeah, this is Ugo, the Vice President.
Talk to us, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Concerning the issue of fuel, that thank God has reduced the price again. I think that is very good. Since it's like the new NMPC Shama is listening to the yearnings of Nigerians.
Well, is it about the new NMPC chairman or the fact that the Naira for crude deal has been renewed? Remember, the reason why the price started going up was because this one stopped after 6 months, and so they started adjusting to the dollar purchase. But now that the Federal Executive Council has said the Naira for crude deal is back on the table, renewed, naturally you see it will act like a stimulus. and you see other reactions to it.
Yeah. Whatever it is, it's still the NNPC that is in charge of the deal. So I believe that the information must be coming from the NNPC director or DMD. That is good to continue with that deal. Because honestly speaking, I don't see the reason why we'll be selling crude oil to the local refinery in dollar currency. As dollar currency become our national currency. So we thank God for them changing their mind, but I believe the issue is from the NNPC. But they don't selling crude oil to whoever they want to buy it. So if they say they are not selling dollar, I don't think the fake has any power or whatever. They say they want to change it, but we appreciate them anyway. But of the appointment, the government must have not done enough, but they have not failed. Because by what you read to us, the number appointed from this zone, I think they failed. Because what it concerns is that each state must be represented. And I believe that the state is represented, but the only thing is that you see political position, ministerial position, or which one did they? Nevertheless, they have tried, but we want them to do more. And they carry everybody along so that the agitation will be reduced.
All right, then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And Clem says, for me, the apologies don't hold water. All they're just doing is, deceive Nigerians through their eye service. ABC government, very good in propaganda. The more you look, the less you see. But we're watching. Obinike Paul says, all the GC position went to the Southwest, EFCC, IGP, CBN, Defense, COS, GMDs, DGs, Controller General, GC ministries, why Southeast are ministers of state for, MDAs and SSAPs. What? All right. You can do better, Tinubu, is what Obinike Paul said. Godwin Essien said, in the thriving democracies, the origins of the leaders' chosen appointees fade into relevance, eclipsed by the quiet assurance of competence, capacity, and character. Yet in places like Nigeria, where rent-seeking festers, we squander our collective spirit, chasing shadows and snared by trivials that dim the promise of progress. And Sunday, Koro Kingsley says, trust you're having a good day. Yes, I am having a pretty fine day, my brother. Tuifemi says he might not have acquired much, but what about his wife on his behalf? All right. Wife should declare asset, right? I hear you. All right, people, let's take a quick break. Dorcas is here for the news at the top of the hour. We shift gear afterwards, so please stick around.
There's a place where you can get it all.
This is Nigeria Info.